Hi everybody, thanks for joining me today. Staying consistent with video making, I am. I just sounded so much like Yoda. We're having such lovely weather out there, but my camera battery is going to die soon, so I can't be really talking about the weather or anything else other than the paranormal right now. So I want to start this video off by answering a couple questions you guys had on my last video, and I'm going to answer them to the best of my ability, so bear with me with this. The last time I did a video, I talked about when I do meditation, sometimes I do hear voices talking to me. Not just when I'm in a meditative state or trancing. Sometimes I'll just be in bed and I'll feel the vibration in my third eye and I'll hear things talking. Spirits, I'm not going to call them things anymore. I'll say spirits. If people think I'm crazy, well, whatever. I'm going to be as honest as I can with you guys right now. I don't really know what they're saying. So by that I mean that when I'm in that trancing state, I want you to keep in mind that I have earplugs in my ears when I'm sleeping at night. And when I hear that, I'm hearing it in my head. The voices are in my head. And generally, that's where you're going to hear something when you're communicating with it spiritually. Sometimes I hear disembodied voices with my ears. I've talked about that in videos before. What I'll generally hear, it begins as a whispering, and it's not very clear, but I do hear over and over again, the one thing that is clear is my name. And it's a whisper, and usually when I hear my name I get scared, and I'm not going to be lying to you guys. I do get afraid of it and I want to snap out of trance and stop because I don't want to hear it. I made a decision with myself to enrich myself more spiritually because I have been slacking off in that department a lot in the last couple of months. I'm afraid people are going to judge me if I'm spiritual, but honestly it's a path I chose and it's something I truly believe in, so I want to be like that. So I do want to enrich it and I want to work on it. So I'm going to start doing it more, and I'm going to try really hard to grow a pair and be more brave for you guys so I can tell you what I'm hearing. Now, I'm not going to promise you that I'm going to get messages from the universe telling me to give messages to humankind because frankly people who do that scare me. I'm not saying there's not people in the world who can do that, because I do believe maybe there's a handful, but I think a lot of them that do are attention seekers. So if I come on here and I say, hey, I had a talk with a spiritual element last night, or my spirit guide, and I say they told me that I lost something and it was under the couch, don't be like, are you serious? That's all it said, because that's what I'm expecting to do right now. The second thing, you guys wanted me to tell you what happened in the shower that day. I got really scared and I didn't want to talk about it, and talking about it and thinking about it just makes me, I'm squinting and I'm just like, but I don't want to do it. But I'm afraid that if I talk about it, things will happen again. I didn't like what it was, but I'll tell you guys because you want to know so bad. So I was in the shower on Thanksgiving Day and I was taking a normal shower. What do you do in the shower? I just shower in the shower, just so you guys know. But and we have like a spa kind of shower in our master bedroom where you just walk right into it. It's part of the room, and we have a curtain hanging in the entranceway. So it's about maybe an inch off the ground. And so I was just taking my normal shower, and I noticed that the curtain kept moving in and it was hitting me in the legs. And I'm not saying that that was paranormal, because curtains have a tendency to move when you're showering with steam and all that scientific stuff. At one point I did happen to look down, and I will swear to God, the universe, Buddha, whoever else I have to swear to that this actually happened. I looked down, and under the curtain I saw a hand slip under, and it happened really fast. It slipped under. I freaked out like it was a tarantula. I screamed, I recoiled, I was getting scared out of my mind, and it went right back out. Now, I've seen some crazy shit in my life, so that normally wouldn't be like, oh, that's the scariest thing I've ever seen. Mind you, this hand was not a normal looking hand. It was gray in color, it was small, smaller than, I have kind of small hands, but it was smaller than my hand, and it was kind of thin. It was not human looking. It was, I don't like to talk about this. I'm getting really anxious, but it was not normal and not human looking, and it scared me, and I was hysterical for an hour. I did not come out of the shower for a good 20 minutes. I cried and screamed, and my husband didn't hear me because he was downstairs watching football, and then I was very angry at him for not coming up, and I sat on the bed for a long time crying, and I was very upset. So that's what happened to me in the shower. So I'm going to share with you a really short family ghost story right now. I apologize for it being such a short story, but I think it's a good story to share, and I was kind of a witness to it, even though it wasn't something I saw, but I was there when it happened, and it's something that happened to my mother. Now, my mother, to this day, she's the kind of person who knows the paranormal is real, knows that spirits are real, but she'll sit there and she'll tell you there's no such thing as ghosts, there's spirits. She doesn't like to talk about it. She does not want any investigations going on in her house anymore. She says, ever since you stopped, I don't see or hear things as much, and I don't want it to go on anymore. So my mother knows there are spirits and has seen spirits and has heard spirits and experienced them, but she's not the kind of person who seeks them because she doesn't like them, I'll just say. But I remember clearly one day when I was in high school, I probably was about 14, 15 years old. I was in my mother's room with her. I was sitting on her bed with her, and we were hanging out. You know, it was one of those rare days when I was a teenager that I was actually getting along with my mother, because now my mother's my best friend. When I was younger, we were like cats and dogs, but I grew up and it's nice. So I was hanging out with her, and we were watching, I believe it was Jeopardy, if I can remember correctly. And all of a sudden, out of my mother's mouth, I heard, "Who are you? What do you want?" So I'm on the bed watching TV, and I hear this, and I'm like, what's wrong? And she's like, nothing. So she gets all defensive. So I'm like, okay, we won't talk about it. So then I'm like, well, what did you see? We all know the history. There's things here, you tell me what you saw. So she said that what she saw was, we were watching the TV, and she looked up, and at her closet door, there was a teenage girl standing there, and she was actually dressed in a cheerleader costume. She had like leg warmers on and everything, so it was like, 70s, 80s type deal. And she said she was just standing there and staring at my mother. So I, by this time, was like, okay, well, in order for me to ever leave this room, to go to the bathroom, to, ever leave the house again, I have to pass that closet now, and you're telling me this. But so my mom saw that girl, and that's pretty much that whole story. I know it's not like a huge story where the girl like rushed at her, screamed at her, clawed her eyes out, but it's a full body apparition story, which I think is a pretty impressive phenomenon. We've never heard of a cheerleader dying in the house or anything around the house, so I can't really give you a back history on it or anything. But that's that, and my camera's dying, so I'm going to say goodbye to you guys. Thank you for watching and joining and supporting and all that good stuff you guys do for me, and I love you all, and goodbye.